Hello, Winchester. Welcome to Visual Radio Live. It is April 11th, 2013, Thursday evening, of course, and we are here. The views and opinions on Visual Radio Live are those of the host and his guests, not necessarily those of Winchester Community Access and Media, staff, board of directors, members, viewers, and all our affiliate stations. We got about 24, but our guest tonight, he's got about 45. Like a good 45 RPM record. Paul Gustafson, welcome to WinCam.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Now, we'll just say right away that Paul's show is here on WinCam. You've probably seen Healthy Hypnosis, so we're one of the 45.
Mm-hmm.
And you tape in Burlington.
We do, yeah. Been doing it for over 5 years now, 150 shows, and what a trip. You know, it's a good time.
I met you in Burlington, now I remember.
You did?
I was hypnotized into thinking I didn't, but I met you there once. Years ago, because there's Rick Newman, Richie Sarno. Do you know Richie?
Sure, yeah.
Richie Sarno.
Yeah.
And Rick Skian is my sponsor up there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Rick?
I know of Rick, yeah.
And his brother works there or something.
Yeah.
Great people. Corey McNeil.
Oh, Corey's a good pal.
Jennifer. Hello, everyone. So, Burlington Hypnosis.
Sure.
Where is Burlington Hypnosis?
We're in Burlington. Yeah, Peach Orchard Road.
Okay.
Yep, I have a home office. Been in practice now for 12 years.
How does one become a hypnotist? Do you go to college for it?
There are different governing bodies of hypnosis groups that gather and have certification courses. You need to understand that hypnosis is not regulated in the state of Massachusetts. So there are different groups, and one is the National Guild of Hypnotists right out in Nashua. And they have their own certification programs that you can take, and you spend 16 hours of lecture, training, exams, writing sessions, and performing them. You become certified in basic hypnosis, and then another program, 24 hours of lecture to become certified in medical hypnosis, helping people with medical conditions. You can become certified in regression therapy, helping people to go back to earlier times in their present life or into past lives, depending on what their value beliefs are. And certainly I've also been certified to help people with symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. And
which syndrome?
Irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hypnosis is, hypnosis is, people are surprised to learn that it was accepted by the AMA back in the Eisenhower administration, 1958. So,
I don't think Mrs. Mary Baker Eddy, I think she studied it, Christian Science. I think she studied hypnotism.
Okay. I think I actually remember reading something about that once. So,
because it's an interesting thing, and I think she, if I recall, she may have realized that it works on some level, but for her belief system, that was not where she wanted to go.
Yep. Yep.
And it's an interesting topic. I have a question for you, a general question on hypnotism. Some of the Navy people, when they're on the Navy ships and they've got the radar, have there been cases of people being hypnotized by the radar?
Well, certainly you can enter into what we refer to as hypnotic trance by focusing on a television, focusing on a computer screen. You can go into hypnotic trance when you're on a long drive. You know those times where you're driving to Maine or Vermont and you arrive and you realize that you're there and you figure, how could I possibly be here? The time goes by so quickly. Well, every time that happens, it's an example of that imagination, the subconscious becoming more open and active than it normally is. It's our conscious mind that keeps track of time. So every time we lose track of time, whether it's staring at the radar or a television or whatever it might be, reading a good book, it's an example of the subconscious becoming open and active, pushes the conscious mind to the back burner. And so we're all going in and out of what people like us refer to as hypnotic trance all the time.
Now, some other people call it like alpha and beta states, is that?
Yeah, there are different levels of hypnosis, sure. Different levels of the subconscious, and that's where we go. And the reason it's helpful to go there is it's the home of all of the habits and patterns and values and beliefs. All the important stuff is in the hard drive. So we have access to this level of thought, and with creative imagery, suggestions, metaphors, you can offer people instructions that help them to cut the connection to the unwanted, unhealthy patterns. You can plant seeds that support what they want. And if they go home and they press play once a day, train their brain, it's like going to the mental gym, training the brain to embrace a new path.
Now, in the old days, we would use as an example maybe a tape recorder, a cassette, and you could say, you can erase this and put something new on it.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have computers where I think they're a great learning tool where people actually see, wow, I could do this with my mind. If I'm cutting and pasting and editing, it's almost it explains a little bit more than just pressing a button on a cassette, I think.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
maybe it makes it easier for you talking to your patients because now they can relate a little better.
Most definitely, sure. And I think just using the term hard drive, people connect with that. And in repetition, it's repetition that enables a musician to play Beethoven without looking at the keys, okay? And the number of times a smoker puts a cigarette to their lips, every time they do that, the root of that pattern gets longer and stronger. And all of these patterns are in the subconscious. That's why, why anybody would smoke. We all know it's going to kill us.
It drives me crazy when I
Yeah.
see people. I try to tell them
Right.
why. I say that. I just say why,
Because it's become a deeply rooted pattern, and it defies intellectual logic. It doesn't matter what we consciously know. If we do it enough, it's rooted, and it's rooted in the subconscious. So,
What's interesting about hard drives?
yeah,
And this will just show how the mind works maybe. I'm an old timer, of course, so I'm used to cassette tapes and then multi-track analog tape, 16-track tape,
right.
24-track tape, and then mini DV, and all these configurations. So when the hard drive came out for me, it's really a brain twist because I looked at it and it was really daunting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now it's like I love them. I want to have like 10 or 20 of them for different projects.
Yeah.
But I couldn't conceive of a hard drive being like a reel-to-reel tape. And of course, I don't know if you ever saw recording tape in the old days, the big reels.
Sure.
$150 for a reel.
Yep.
And if you're doing a session with a recording act, it's 15 minutes at 30 inches per second. The hard drive, you could just record and record and record, and
Right.
it's just... When that tape came in, I couldn't comprehend that all this work we were doing on huge reels, we could just shoot down to a DAT, a digital audio tape. So the brain has a lot more storage than a hard drive.
Most definitely. Yeah.
And you go explore the storage.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. I have clients come in with so many different types of problems, whether it's weight or smoking or stress or public speaking, and they come in and meet me for the first time. They've never done hypnosis. They tell me their story, their problem, and I certainly give them enough time to offload. I want to help them put them at ease, and just the cathartic process of listening does that. Then we do a session, and after the session, I'll ask them if they feel disconnected and free from the problem they walked through the door with. And even though this is the first time they've ever done hypnosis, they feel that disconnect. They feel as though they're now free to start moving forward. And I see a client for a series of sessions, and we build on that. And then they're listening to sessions at home, and they're repeating the process of entering into that blissful state and reinforcing this new program, if you will, this new operating system. And it's that repetition. It was repetition that caused the problems. We take the same approach with the solution.
What happens when a client starts acting like you're a psychologist, and it's not your part, but they're just
Yeah, it's a good question.
starting to
That's
treat
a real good question.
you that way?
Because we walk a fine line, and oftentimes I'm mistaken for those individuals, and I'm very quick to remind them, and I'm always bringing the conversation back to hypnosis.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah,
how
I
you do it.
Yeah, I do. Because when I first got in this field, there were clients that just wanted to keep coming and coming and coming.
Because it was therapeutic
Yep.
just to talk to someone.
Yeah, people aren't listened to anymore. And this
There's
is
so much distraction out there.
no one's listening to anybody, right? No one pays attention.
I thought it was just me. I honestly did. I thought no one's listening to me, so no one's listening to anyone.
No one.
Good, so it's not just me.
No, it's not you. I was a hospice nurse for 8 years, and one of the first things I learned in that business was how important it is to listen, to give people that unconditional time to offload. And I do the same thing with hypnosis, and it works great. I look at their body language, and I can see they're uptight when they first come in, and then they talk, and I ask more questions, and I ask more questions, and then they start to slouch, and the eyes are half masked, and they're relaxing, and we're laughing a little bit, and then we transition into the session.
See, and one of the reasons I brought it up, I've had about 8 shrinks on the show with their books and whatever.
Yeah.
And I've never been taken out in a straitjacket, so I'm proud of that.
Well, Yeah,
But
so far.
so far. But no, you've got that stare like the psychologists that have been on the show. So I just,
I have a stare?
no, it's just the look.
The look.
Yeah,
What's the look? What is that?
It's just there's a definite authority. You carry yourself well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
No, but I could see people. That's why the question came up. I think that people might want to talk to you.
Yeah,
You can't generalize and say no one's listening because I'm listening to you.
that's true. Yep, this is one of the exceptions.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
And I do have some questions
You
here.
do?
And what is your professional background?
Well, as I said, I'm an RN, and I worked at Mass General Hospital for many years. The surgical. I used to work at Mass General on a surgical thoracic floor where we had people come from all over the world to have parts of their anatomy removed because of the smoking.
Oh.
And then from there, I went to work as a hospice nurse for many years and helped people to die because of things like smoking. Now, for 12 years, I've been able to help people avoid all that problem and help. It's particularly gratifying to transition from all of that misery into empowerment and freedom.
But you're still an RN?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're still an RN. Now, as you were treating people, did you feel that you wanted to help them in another way?
Back
You
then,
could?
yeah, I did. And it was, I think I've been on this path. And I think all of that experience is, and you know what, even before that, I used to be in music. And I used to be into recording. And I still have that old recording equipment, which is now used for much quieter endeavors. I use it for recording my sessions. And just to go back to what you were saying earlier about technology, all of my clients go home with the recording of the sessions we do. They're recorded into my computer. I compress the file. I make the MP3, and they get the MP3 emailed to them.
Interesting.
Yeah. It started with the cassette, and now I'm just sending out a simple MP3 file. It's beautiful.
So now I know 3 nurses that do shows. Do you realize that this show launched 2 nurses to have their own shows?
Really? Kate?
Kate Genevieve's Table Talk, which you've been on.
Yep.
And you must know Rick Heenahan.
I got to be on his show next. Yeah.
Now, do you know how we got his show?
You probably had something to do with it.
I got him started, and here's how it happened. His mother's best friend is one of my dearest friends, Donna, in Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm over there at Christmas. She invites me over every Christmas, and there's Rick Heenahan, and he's telling me these stories about going to the State House. You got to be on Access TV. He says, what are you talking about? I said, you must be on Access TV. We'll set it up in Burlington. And so I brought him to the Burlington station. Joan Rolfe probably produced it.
Yep, she produces me.
And now he became a producer of the year, but I dragged him
Really?
into Burlington. And we've got nurses on. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
And Rick loves it now.
Yeah, I've heard of him, and it's time for me to reach out to him, and I'd like to be on his show.
My good friend Richie Sarno was my sponsor. My dear friend Rick Skian is my sponsor. And Richie Heenahan is working there, so I got 3 Burlington Ricks.
Yep, that's great.
And 3 nurses here.
Yeah.
Okay, we kind of covered this, but this is a good question. How would you explain what hypnosis is?
Yeah, well, hypnosis, the simple solution, like we said, it's the process of entering that daydream level of thought for the purpose of getting to where the habits live. And once there, we have the opportunity to disconnect, delete, and dispose of the junk, plant seeds that support what we want, and clients repeat the process at home. I recommend that my clients listen to their sessions routinely for a couple months. Brain training, it's repetition. And positive change comes quickly with hypnosis. Clients come for years of struggling with worry and concern, and we can cut that cord really quick and they feel good. Hypnosis feels wonderful. Aside from the therapeutic benefits, the euphoria, you tap into endorphin flow with hypnosis. There's euphoric bliss with every session. It's the deepest relaxation. If you were to come into the office, the very first visit, you'd have the deepest relaxation that you've ever experienced in your life. Pretty much guaranteed. And you get to repeat that all the time.
The individuals from Maum Meditation in Arlington, they were handing out flyers that said, hey, be on my show, so they came here. Have you heard of them?
No.
So there's this meditation group in Arlington, and people are on different paths, and hypnotism is one way, meditation's another. Maybe they
Hypnosis is meditation, by
It
the
is.
way.
Okay.
Goal-oriented meditation.
Oh, okay. I never heard that term.
Yeah, that's my original. We go to the same place the meditators go to, the guided imagery people, the progressive relaxation people, to that peaceful inner stillness. But when we get there, we're kicking butt. We got crap to get rid of, We have new seeds to plant that support. It's very much goal-oriented.
That's fascinating to
Yeah.
me because it's almost like one-on-one meditation
Yep.
as opposed to a big group.
And you know what? I ask all of my clients, because I'm looking for a commonality. When people come in, I want to know if anybody has any experience with anything remotely close to what I do. And those who talk about having had experience with meditation, they always talk about it with frustration. I don't know how they're teaching meditation, but it seems everybody is frustrated with it. They're not able to get into that level of peaceful stillness. And one of the things that I do, in addition to the formal sessions that help fix whatever they need fixing, is to teach them how to get into meditative thought, how to own the process. And I try to help my clients to become self-practitioners so that when they own the process, their success is greater, longer lasting, and then they do my marketing for me. So it's a win-win.
The Beatles needed you. You know about
The Beatles, I've heard of them, yeah.
The Maharishi, remember?
Yes, of course.
They had their problems with the Maharishi. They wrote, John Lennon wrote Sexy Sadie on the White Album, which Maharishi, Sexy Sadie.
Oh, I didn't know that was that.
Oh yeah, that
really?
they were disgruntled with the...
John was disgruntled. George wasn't disgruntled, was he?
I think they all felt that the Maharishi realized he had a taste of fame being with the Beatles.
Well.
And it changed him. So the great master became enamored of the world because, it was such a drug being with the Beatles.
Not? Yeah, right.
But he really should have stayed above it all. And so he ended up being Sexy Sadie.
I did not know that.
Which is, listen to the White Album now. Listen to it with an ear and you'll hear John Lennon dissing the Maharishi.
Okay, I will listen to that now. Yeah, I love the Beatles. Can't get enough of them.
We had Uncle Charlie, John Lennon's uncle, was on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's gone now. But we went up to Route 1. He was here for a Beatles convention.
Mm-hmm.
This is Charles Lennon on Visual Radio.
Wow.
I've got to pull that out, Director Jay. I got to pull that out. We got to put that on our best of reel. Uncle Charlie. We talked about a lot of this stuff. I never do questions. Okay, wait, I got a question.
Yeah.
Growing up on TV, cartoons. You always see the mad hypnotist on the cartoon dangling. Is it like that? Is there the medallion, you dangle?
Do I?
Yeah.
I do no dangling. I have no magic wheels. I don't have a goatee or a cape. No magic wands. All I do is talk. My clients put on the Bose Quiet Comfort headphones. They stretch back. I have a little lapel microphone, so we're wired in, and I got my old 8-track digital recording deck with all of my music tracks in it. So they have there's a tapestry of music, and I get this. I do a program called gastric band hypnosis, where they're guided to imagine, the weight loss clients, to imagine they had this surgery, and when we're in that session, I've got all the sounds of the operating room that they were able. Yeah, it's quite real to them.
Do you have C sounds of the sea?
No, I don't have C, no.
That would be nice.
I used to have it, but too many clients said they needed to go to the bathroom in the middle of the session, so I try to stay away from running water sounds.
Along the lines of what we're talking about right now, a little later tonight we're going to talk about, these are the original Wizard of Oz. We're going to start playing on WinCam again. We played them a year or 2 years ago, but because Oz is out. So my question to you is, have you and your lovely wife seen the new Oz?
The new Oz?
The new Oz movie.
No.
It's like, it's huge. It's in 3D. James Franco plays the Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
You wear the 3D glasses, but here's the cool thing. One of the most fun things about it is the opening credits.
Mm-hmm.
Opening credits is the best part of the whole movie. And you put the 3D glasses on, and you're in black and white, because you're going back to Kansas in black and white. So they copied that from the MGM movie. But they have the hypnosis, that like spinning black and white,
that time tunnel wheel there.
The time tunnel, thank you. The time tunnel wheel. It is amazing 3D. It really is one of the highlights of the movie, and you're in the tornado.
Mm-hmm.
So the 3D hypnotic wheel becomes the tornado, and great metaphor. I only wish Sam Raimi had done that through the whole movie. I mean, he just really, there's good points in it. It's not a bad movie, but our expectations are very high when you have Ray Bolger and Judy Garland.
Who played the role of Judy?
Well, it wasn't. This is a prequel.
Oh, okay.
There were a number of Oz books. Tonight we're going to be discussing His Majesty The Scarecrow of Oz, which came long before the 1933 movie.
Really?
Yeah, so these were in black and white, and they were silent films.
Oh, boy.
And this is the collection, and because they're silent, I'm making a movie. We're going to incorporate some old Wizard of Oz. Why not?
Right on.
It's fun. But, and you can do anything with public domain, as you know.
Yep.
So
You can even have a show about hypnosis.
on public public domain?
Yeah.
There's hypnosis, public domain?
Well, I don't know. I'm talking cable access is what I'm referring to.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying there's, you can take public domain movies and cut them up and use them.
Oh, I see what you're
in
saying.
your own personal
I
movie.
see. Okay.
There's no copyright on them anymore.
Beautiful.
Now, another thing, have you heard of Émile Coué? A French philosopher, if you will. And he came up with a, this is maybe 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Every day in every way, I am getting better and better and better. And he would do this repetition, and people were getting better, repeating the mantra, if you would.
Mm-hmm.
And he started on that.
Yeah, mantras are meditative, right?
Affirmations, I think they're called. These from the self-help world.
Yep. Yep. There are a lot of practitioners in my field that do formal affirmations in the middle of a deep hypnotic session. I don't. I have a kind of another approach, but yeah, there are as many different approaches to this field as there are practitioners. So.
Now, it seems to me you could write a book because you've developed your own method.
I have written a book, Healthy Hypnosis, A Simple Truth and Practical Use.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many pages?
About 200.
Okay,
Quick
so
read.
it's a quick read. Now, does it take you the reader on a journey through some of your
There's some case
cases?
studies, most definitely.
Okay.
It covers the nuts and bolts of what it is, how it works, how you use it, case studies, different applications, talks about hypnosis in the hospital and different applications that it could be helpful in those settings. And I got another book in my mind somewhere, maybe if I get some time. But I've been these last few years, I've been getting busier and busier. There's people are finally figuring out that this is a legitimate option to overcome many different types of challenges, physical and emotional.
We have so many people on the planet, and people are looking for paths and want to find something substantial.
Yeah.
I have to introduce you to Smokey Bacon. We were talking about Smokey. Smokey Bacon has a show. She's in Boston, and she tapes authors. So you'd be perfect with your book. And she, like you, like me, she's on multiple stations. So we are the kind of access bicyclists.
Right. Yeah, we're pedaling, aren't we?
You have about 150 shows. When did you start?
6 years ago.
In Burlington?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you on someone else's show? Were you guesting on shows?
I did. Trying to remember, Judy, what was the name of the woman's show that I was on?
Around town.
Eileen DeRocco. You know Eileen?
No, I think I've heard of Around Town,
yeah.
but I've not heard of her.
She had a show, and at the end of her show, I was watching in the home, she says, if you got something interesting to talk about, give me a call. So I was new in hypnosis, so I said, yeah, damn right I got something interesting to. So I did her show, and
In Burlington?
in Burlington. It was great. And then we had an open house at this medical place that I was working as a hypnotist. I had my office there. And they had this open house, and this chiropractor came. And all he was doing was talking about how great business was because of this cable access show he did in Woburn. I can't remember the guy's name. So I went up to Burlington, and I started asking around, so what about the cable show on hypnosis? And every question I asked, they just kept saying yes. Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can help you with a set. So out of nowhere, this show started. It was only in Burlington. And then I would be telling my clients in my office about my show, and they wanted to play it in their town. So, it's not that hard to get it. You get the paperwork signed, you get the sponsor for the towns, and now.
It can become difficult. I'm on in Boston. Your sponsor has to take the class
Yeah,
because there are so many people that want to be on in Boston.
yeah.
There are a lot in Cambridge. I'm a member in Cambridge. There are a lot in Somerville, which is where I actually started in '79.
Yeah.
But in Malden is very jam-packed.
Mm-hmm.
So in the big cities, thankfully I'm on in Manhattan too because a friend of mine.
Really? Wow.
But we have to cut this show up into 29 minutes and 29 minutes for Manhattan.
Yeah.
Because my friend has a 29 minutes spot, but I'm very thankful we have that.
Yeah.
Because it is easier to get in a lot of towns, but the big metropolises are jam-packed, which is a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of Access TV.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that, in Somerville, they really take it seriously. As we do here in Winchester, and
Sure.
they do in Burlington.
Yep.
Burlington has a great station.
They do, yeah. Good people. I find that that's the common denominator in every station I've been into. They're just great people who care about, they have passion about what they're doing.
Are you on in Stoneham?
I am,
Yep.
yeah.
They're good people too, George and Amy.
Stoneham, Reading, Malden, North Reading, Bedford, and
Have you been on Ron Cox's show in Malden, Live on Tape?
no, I haven't.
We got to get you on Live on Tape. I usually put musical guests on a show, but I've got to say, because Live on Tape's one of the old legendary shows.
All right,
And
set me up.
yeah, he's like the first Monday of every month, so I'll hook you guys up by
Sure,
email.
I'll do the circuit.
You have to, because your show is on all these stations.
Right.
I think it's fun doing the circuit.
Right, I think that's good. I think that's probably one of the big takeaways I'll take from being on this show is making that connection with you and getting out there more, meet these people.
Your show's on the air, and it's just good for people who are here in Winchester to know that, hey, there's a hypnotist right up in Burlington, and you've seen his show here, and let's have some fun. Is hypnosis a medically approved treatment?
Yeah, as I said back in 1958, AMA said thumbs up.
I'd ask you, anyone can become, off camera, I said to you, are there people whose wills are so strong they can't be hypnotized?
Well, first of all, I'm not giving it away. So for them to come in the door, they're ponying up some coin.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe weeds out people who are maybe going to try it as a lark or aren't serious-minded. I've been pleasantly surprised over the years, a steady stream of serious-minded individuals who are legitimately interested in finding solutions. And I have cynics who come in. I had a physician once who took my gastric band weight loss program, and he came in a bit of a cynic and a know-it-all. And I said, I don't care if you believe in it or not. Or obviously you're here, you want to find a solution to your problem. And I just asked him what he thought about the notion of deep, euphoric, blissful relaxation. Do you like it? Do you want some of that? Good. Do you really want to lose this weight? Is it a problem for you? You want to find a solution? Excellent. Are you willing to follow some simple instructions so that we can get into that blissful state? Would you like to do that now? Yeah? Okay. Lean back, put the headphones on, and let me tell you a little bedtime story. And it works every time.
So the doctor had a weight problem.
Yep. Yeah.
So he was actually looking for a solution.
Yeah. Yeah. And he came on my show. He was so blown away by the results. He lost like 35 pounds. He came on the show. He couldn't wait to come on the show. He was so blown away by the experience.
So people are looking to improve their lives.
Oh, sure. I have yet to have a client come in to ask me to help them make their life worse.
Right. No, I get that. But it is a way to improvement. As the mild meditation people, that everyone's looking for improvement. Although with the meditation people, they have a philosophy that comes along with it, and you don't throw philosophy at people.
No.
Which is important.
No, I throw help the fast track to relief, to solutions. I am like the meat and potatoes of straight ahead. You have a problem, this is how we're going to get to that level of relaxation where you can start fixing things, and you tell me what this new version of you want to look like and what you want to feel like, and we incorporate that into the session and the imagination is in the subconscious. So they're guided to start imagining this new guy. And every time they press play, they're hanging out with this new guy who's fit and trim and healthy and doesn't smoke and is not afraid of public speaking and can get on an airplane and fly anywhere he wants. So every time they get into the hypnotic state, they're imagining this person. And the reason it's so powerful is because the subconscious can't tell the difference between what you're thinking about and what's real. So we trick it. We bombard it with a steady stream of these positive, empowering images. It thinks this guy is already out and about town. So it starts to make changes that support this guy. The affinity to healthy food, no longer interested in all the junk. The taste of cigarettes is really repulsive. They're more relaxed, they're centered, they're grounded just from the meditation quality of hypnosis in general. The cathartic relief of all that junk. It sets the stage for change that comes quick and easy. And if they repeat the process, they create a foundation that lasts. It's perfect.
We were out for dinner the other night. I said to my friend, I can't believe a time when people were smoking in restaurants.
And flicking their ashes right on the plate,
Oh,
right?
I am so happy that, in nightclubs and restaurants, and it's just, you can actually breathe.
Yeah. We've come a long way in that respect.
Well, not being a smoker, I'd come home and my clothes would reek of smoke.
Yeah.
Because we lived at the Rathskeller, which no longer exists.
Right.
We were at the Cars for a show because we knew those guys. We still know those guys. Some of them have been on the show. Greg Hawkes was right out here in Lincoln.
And they have a relatively new album out, right, the Cars?
About a year ago.
Yeah. That was well received, wasn't it?
It got played on WZLX, which as well it should. I'm a rock critic. I'll say it. Knowing those guys, seeing their first show, I was disappointed in the single.
Were you?
Yeah, I just thought Rick Ocasek can do better. It felt like he was going through the motions. So,
Okay.
But that's my opinion. But you have to give it a little weight because I was there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I was Ben Orr's videographer.
Were you really?
The guy who was saying just what I needed.
Yeah.
We lost Ben a few years ago.
Right.
But yeah, I was on stage with him at the Government Center. We had 15,000 people. And John Kalishis was his guitar player. That's how John brought me in. And his brother Vinny Kalishis is my sponsor in Situate.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
So, the Ben Orr people are sponsoring the show. Even though Ben's gone, we love you, Ben. Vinny's still sponsoring the show down in Situate.
Wow.
So it's, but, music can be hypnotic. Cars records can be hypnotic.
You're right. That's a good point. Yeah, they do have that.
It's
that
Greg.
quality.
It's Greg. Greg, the keyboard player, is a multi-instrumentalist. He's on a Paul McCartney album, Flowers in the Dirt.
Okay.
Paul flew him over to England, and Greg said to me, he was on the show, he goes, I'm in Paul's studio, and I look, and there's the Cars' greatest hits on the shelf. He goes,
Wow.
I'm on Paul McCartney's shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on his record,
Yeah.
Greg, but, but my album's on his shelf, and, what an honor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but the keyboard playing,
Yeah.
Greg's amazing dexterity, hypnotic. That was moving in stereo, such a hypnotic song from the first album.
Yeah. They just had a hypnotic groove, the music they made. It just pulsated.
And it was about the music and what they were creating. They did not put on a show.
No.
They came
It was
out
just the music.
and they stood there, and
Yeah.
that was the thing, and they just cranked it out. Elliot Easton played phenomenal guitar. They were very gifted. They were, with the structure of the songs, you didn't realize that Elliot was such a gifted guitar player, or maybe you didn't even pick up on how brilliant Greg was, or Ben, or Rick, or David Robinson, superb veteran drummer from many bands, including the Modern Lovers, Jonathan Richman's pioneering band. These guys were, and three of them did a record on Paramount called Milkwood before the Cars. They were seasoned.
Okay.
And they sold, 23 million records?
The older I get now, I've got, certainly we have access to everything the Beatles ever did on YouTube. And I have friends and we listen to Beatles all the time. I'm really starting to study the intricacy with which George played and, the stylings of Ringo and just all that went into making that incredible music. It's, and how good a bass player Paul McCartney was.
I think the Burlington Library might have the book by Jeff Emmerich and Howard Massey. We had Howard Massey on by phone. Here, There, and Everywhere. Mm-hmm. Very good book because it analyzes while they were in the studio with the engineer, Jeff Emmerich.
Okay.
So it will give you more insight since you seem to be honed in on that. It's a very exciting book to read. George Martin, the producer, had worked with classical music. The synergy between these rock and rollers.
Yeah.
There must have been some real emotional battles going on.
It must have been, yeah.
You couldn't step on toes because he's the producer, we're the band, and there had to be give and take that had to create that great sound.
Yeah, and that the fact that Martin came from that strict classical background into this completely new arena, and it worked beautifully,
Because he had to discipline the sound, and they were all over the map.
They needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the combination of the discipline and the outrageous rock and roll from the Hamburg Club.
I saw a clip with George Martin and Paul McCartney and Donnie Harrison, George's son.
Oh.
they were in front of the mixing board, and they were just listening to some of George's tracks. And Donnie said something, and George just stopped, and he looked over to Donnie and said, "Oh my God, you sound just like your father." It was really quite a moment. And Donnie, of course, knows everything about his father. It was just beautiful. Yeah.
And I'm glad you like the Beatles. Do
Oh, yeah.
clients ever ask for the Beatles music?
No, not in the sessions, no. But occasionally, if I have a client who's got an interest in music, we'll have a chat. Or if I have a client who's interested in the Red Sox, and we'll have conversations about this or that. And I oftentimes find out what they like in general, just so that I can help put them at ease, and we'll have these conversations. It's perfect. It's better than working for a living.
When someone comes in to your environment, what's the first step?
Well, they usually contact me by email now, and
then when they walk in, are they intimidated at all?
they see so much of my video. I've got tons of video from my show, and I direct them to that prior to us even meeting, so
Okay,
we have a
that's good.
comfort level. And they come in and they're filling out a very brief intake form, and then I just start saying, "So tell me your story. What's going on?" And I listen like for the first 15 or 20 minutes, finding out what's all about them. And they talk, and I read body language, and I could tell when they're starting to shift from that initial "who's this guy and what's this place" feeling to, "Oh, this guy really seems to care." And
A little bit of trust.
yeah, right. It's all about rapport. This is a hugely rapport-based modality. If you don't feel like I'm the guy that's going to help you get where you need to be, you're just going to listen to me talk and wait till I finish so you can leave. There's no power that I have. I'm just suggesting things, and the client can imagine it if they want to. So for them to get to the point where they're going to take my words and attach the right meaning to it and have the right journey, they better feel like I'm the right guy, and if I'm listening and caring, and I do care. So it works. It works every time.
We talked about it off camera that you don't do the theatrical hypnotism.
No. But I think people are pleasantly, relieved that none of that is part of the. I used to be on the Paul Sullivan show on WBZ quite frequently.
Sully, yesterday, he used to use Sonny for his.
Oh,
for
right.
Sully.
Right. There was a caller who called in once, and he said, "I'm blind. Can I be hypnotized?" And I was definitely overthinking it. I was trying to figure out. So I was stumbling through my answer, and Paul says, "No." What he should have said was, "No, dummy." Why he was asking that is because he couldn't see you holding the stopwatch.
Right.
And I didn't realize it at the time, but sure.
Which brings me to the next question. We
Yeah.
talked about the stopwatch. People generally think that they are going to be starting to sleep. Do you do that routine?
No.
Okay, so your
No.
eyes are getting heavy.
I'm a little bit more conversational, and it's not the drama, Actually, before we even get to the hypnosis session, I'm teaching them how to do self-hypnosis. So we're going through the process of taking some deep breaths and pretending they can inhale relaxation and imagining numbers that you attach relaxing meaning to, and you silently count in each. So we're going through this whole training regime about learning how to do self-hypnosis. And they're relaxed, and they're in light hypnotic trance even before we get to the formal session. So it works perfect because it helps to grease the skids for them to just slide into this peaceful experience, but it also helps them to learn how to do it on their own. So there's a method to the madness.
When did you start the book?
Oh, the book has been done for 4 years now. So
Is it self-published?
yeah, yep, it's out on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's called Healthy Hypnosis.
Simple truth and practical use. Yeah.
And I think books are so important in this day and age. Can people do it on the
Kindle.
Kindles
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff?
available on Kindle as well.
It's interesting. So how did you get to sift through all of your resources to come up with what you wanted in the book?
Well, I knew what I wanted to teach, and I wanted it to be kind of the ABCs of hypnosis, so I just wrote down the chapters that I thought would be good, and when I realized I wanted more, then I just went through my client lists. And, I've seen thousands of clients over the years. And
Thousands?
Yeah. So it's, there's plenty. There's probably 3 or 4 more books in there if I can remember all these stories.
Has anyone really gotten deep, deep into the subconscious where they were in a whole other level of existence that you haven't seen with other clients?
I used to do dialoguing and higher self therapy, helping them to connect to their spiritual essence. I had a client once who was deeply depressed because he thought he was responsible for his brother's death, his brother's suicide. And so I was trained. I had a great trainer, and we went back, and I asked the client if his higher self would step forward, his spiritual self, and this voice comes sounding different than the client's voice, sounds more authoritative, And I'm asking the higher self if it's possible that we talk to, the brother, Bill. And this voice says, yeah. So this other voice came in kind of a different tone. So we're having this conversation between the client and his brother. And the brother said to the client, Dave, you know that I was depressed. You know that Ma was driving me to the doctors all the time. I was on the medication. You didn't have anything to do with my death. And then the client would ask questions. So I was sitting in my chair like, I was new in the field, and I was thrown right into the deep end, really getting into this stuff. And it was unbelievable. And higher self-therapy is a very powerful technique, and connecting to one's spiritual essence is extremely powerful. I don't do that like I used to because there isn't much of a call for it. The call is for weight loss and stress and smoking and fear of flying and all of these things. So I tended to go, I needed to make a living, So.
Now, someone who's got a deep situation like that, that's disturbing their life, upending their life, someone did something and their repercussions are like a ripple still prodding against them. Did they bring up dreams? Did the brother come to him in dreams, and was that disturbing?
He was deeply depressed. And
so he became depressed?
Oh yeah, he thought he was responsible.
But he wasn't depressed before the suicide, so the depression came because
they had an argument right before the brother took off, and it was the timing of it was that it made the client believe that his argument had something to do with the suicide, when in fact it really didn't at all.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. On to more cheerier subjects. Earlier this year, there was World Hypnotist Day.
Yes.
In Woburn. Mm-hmm. Now, this is an annual event?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I haven't taken part of it yet, so I know of it, and I know that Tom Nicoli, one of the really great hypnotists in this area, is the ringleader of the World Hypnotism Day. And the National Guild of Hypnotists right up in New Hampshire, they're very big in, spreading the word. And World Hypnotism Day is the annual event, which is designed to help spread the word about hypnosis and help people understand.
In fact, if our viewers will go into Google and you just put in World Hypnotism Day, a short film, Jay Gold, our director tonight, released the movie yesterday, and we're announcing it here.
Beautiful.
I wanted a hypnotist here to tell the world with us, World Hypnotism Day. The film is out as of yesterday, the 10th of April. It made its debut. Jay's been in there working diligently on this video.
That's great. I got to make a point and watch that when I get home.
It's very good. I enjoyed it, and I gave it a thumbs up on YouTube.
Beautiful.
There's a lot of hits already.
Beautiful.
Now I'm going to hypnotize our viewers because I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to answer it, and the camera's going to be on you for about 30 seconds and not on me. Where do you go from here? Where does your TV show go in the next year? Do you reevaluate? Do you?
Well, you ask good questions. We're just in the process of upgrading healthy hypnosis. We have new segments. We have in the news where we're bringing in a lot of current stories from different newspapers and news outlets, helping people to get caught up with a lot of the changes that are on the field. And we have the video of the week, pulling in a lot of content from YouTube. And we have the mailbag. I've got tweets, and I've got Facebook postings, and I get tons of email from clients. So we're bringing all of this into the show now. And of course, we're continuing to bring in past clients to share their experiences with hypnosis, and certainly other practitioners. So healthy hypnosis is really ramping up, and I've recently gotten through some hip surgery and some medical problems. I've been off the circuit for a while, so now this is a new launching point for the show and for myself. And you can find information on the show. You can go to burlingtonhypnosis.com and click on the TV show page, and you can see lots of video. I've got a whole video channel, a YouTube channel, a lot of clips, a lot of full episodes as well, so you can get familiar with the Healthy Hypnosis show. And you can also learn more about the process of hypnosis. There's a lot of teaching clips in there explaining certainly what hypnosis is, the history of hypnosis, the applications, and some demonstrations. So lots going on.
See, I hypnotized our audience into thinking that I was here when I wasn't.
I know that was very skillful.
Very.
You have a future in this field.
Now, you'll have to hypnotize me tonight on this, because my movie critic, for over 2 years here, I've been phoning him, and I can't remember the phone number. And I used to remember numbers all the time. So now I have to pick up my cell phone, which was across the room, but no one saw me get up and leave, and that's just magic.
It was magic. In fact, if you didn't mention it, they never would have known you left.
That's right.
Did I cover for you well?
You did.
Yeah.
You did great.
Yeah.
And I have a question on your future of your show. I have one thing, but there's Healthy Bites and Health Source on Tuesdays here at 11:30 a.m. and 12. I'm wondering if they made a mistake, because Healthy Hypnosis is on here in WinCam.
Yep.
And we'll find out, and I will email you.
Great.
We're going to talk to Frank Dell'Istrito about Oz, but my last question, and you're free to stay, or you can leave, whatever you'd like.
Sure.
I like exploring hypnosis. Will you bring in guests that are other hypnotists, or maybe authors who've done books?
Sure.
And maybe really explore hypnotism
We're
for
always
people?
looking for new guests. I have a lot of clients who come on the show. I think those are the greatest, the best guests they have. People who've been through the process. They don't have to listen to me.
I like exploring Access TV. I like exploring all our subject matter, and I had a lot of fun here tonight. The door's always open to you, Paul.
That's terrific. Thank you.
Did you have fun here?
It's a blast. I can't believe we've almost been at this for an hour. You're very easy to sit with,
I listen.
I know you do.
And as I'm listening, I'm actually writing
I
questions
know.
too.
You're
and
working it. You got a lot going on over on that side of the table.
people don't realize it. When I come off the set, I feel fuzzy because it's the lights and the work.
I've had the same feeling.
It's very strange, isn't it?
Yep.
You just have this fuzz around your brain. The lighting has something to do with it, but it's the energy we're expending. It's like I'll go to the gym from here.
Yep.
But it's more powerful than the gym.
Or if you get a client that gives you one word, or a guest that gives you 1 or 2 word answers, boy, those are the worst. You didn't have that trouble tonight, though, did you?
No, Al Cooper, remember Blood, Sweat, and Tears?
I do, yeah.
Al Cooper lives in Somerville.
Does he really?
So he moved here to teach at Berkeley, and Jeff Tamarkin's a friend of mine, an editor. He's been on the show. Jeff Tamarkin is the biographer of the Jefferson Airplane.
Oh, boy.
One of them. They've both been on the show. So Tamarkin said to Al, yeah, you're going to be on Joe's show. So I had a staff, we did it in Medford. I have a staff, and I showed up late because they put things together, and you're late, like he's my teacher, okay? And I said, so Al, you have a new book out. Is there anything from the old book in the new book? Truncated. One word answer.
Oh.
The great Al Cooper, who I have a lot of respect for, played on Like a Rolling Stone, played on You Can't Always Get What You Want for the Rolling Stones. Guy's a legend.
Yeah.
Created Blood, Sweat, and Tears. He's given me one.
Wow.
So one of the staffers said, you should have thrown him off the show. I said, this is Al Cooper.
You don't throw Al Cooper off the show, no.
So I said, I had to get something out of him. What does Al Cooper do for fun? Anne Frank with a satellite dish. Then I said, it's a great quote. He sends me an email, do not use it. I don't want the feminine masculine thing. Okay,
Oh,
you
boy.
said it, don't use it, no problem. It's only on TV, right? Let's put it on the Best of Visual Radio, Jay, that we're doing. So we're sitting there, and I said, all right, so you're Anne Frank with a satellite dish. Explain it. I like movies. We talked about movies. We didn't talk about his book. But I got him talking.
You did, huh?
I love movies. You like movies. We all
Why
like
did he
movies.
want to come on the show if he didn't want to talk?
He is a strange person,
Yeah.
and I mean, he's a legend, and he'll probably see this show. It's on in Somerville, so I'll
Yep.
tell you off camera. No, we love you. We're fans. This diamond ring. He wrote This Diamond Ring. Gary Lewis and the Playboys.
Oh, boy.
Legend. We're going to talk to another legend. Our author, one of Bela Lugosi's biographers, does our Vampire Over London, the Bela Lugosi in Britain. Great book. This guy's wonderful. He is our dear friend and movie author. You're going to like Frank.
Beautiful.
And you can chime in if you have anything to say
Sure.
about The Wizard of
Terrific.
Frank Delastrino talking about movies.
I'm sorry I kept you hanging on His Majesty, the Scarecrow of Oz.
Okay, well, it was worth the hang. How much time do we have?
We have 5 minutes.
Okay. All right, so we'll jump right into the movie then. His Majesty, the Scarecrow of Oz, made in 1914. It's a 99-year-old movie, Joe. I think this might be the oldest movie you've shown.
1914.
Yes, and I think it's the first movie of the Oz Film Company. Frank Baum, was a man that had, L. Frank Baum. The L stood for Lyman, but until he wrote Wizard of Oz, it could have stood for loser, because everything he tried his hand at didn't seem to work out right until he struck gold with the Oz books, and he'd write 14 of them eventually, and of course he created a whole mythology in doing that. And he moved to Southern California hoping for a quiet place to write, and he bought a home in Hollywood. The next thing he knew, the film capital was all around him. And in 1914, he filmed the Oz Film Company, which only lasted a year or so, but it made a handful of Oz movies, and they're all in public domain now, so maybe you'll be showing more of them.
We will.
And he wrote and directed this. So this is directed by L. Frank Baum. The technology of movies is growing fast, but at this point it's not well along. And things that you and I take for granted, like camera movement or close-ups, are not in this movie. Almost every shot in this movie is what you call a medium-length shot. About, I'd say, the performers are standing 12 feet from the camera, and every scene is like that. And so I think your viewers may be fascinated by how crude filmmaking was. And a year later came Birth of a Nation, which exploded on the scene, and it's remembered now for its kind of racist view of the Civil War. But what it did is it brought together all the film techniques that have been popping up here and there and delivered them fully blown to the public. And after that, movies had to become technically better. So this movie would be outdated technically in no time. And so, in other words, I think your audience may find it a bit odd to be watching every scene as if it's a film play, as if actors are walking in front of a camera that never moves, but that's just the way they did it in those days.
I'm going to read the little synopsis. Our brave friends Dorothy the Scarecrow, the Tin Woodsman, and the Cowardly Lion set out to do battle with the evil King Cruel and the wicked witch Mombi. In the end, our heroes defeat them and return the land of Oz back to a beautiful and peaceful land.
Yes. Now, there's two people to watch in this movie, because most of these people had careers in the early silent films, and they're utterly forgotten today. There's two people to watch. One is the guy that plays the Cowardly Lion, Fred Woodward. I looked up his movie credits. In almost every movie he ever appeared, he's playing something that walks on all fours. And in this movie, he plays the Cowardly Lion. He also plays a kangaroo, a cow, a mule, and a crow. And mules were his forte. He plays mules in at least two other movies. And in one movie about a circus, he plays a number of roles, and he's just listed as circus animals. So, and I must say, as I'm watching the movie, it gets a little, without the editing and all that, it gets a little hard to follow, a little hard to stay with. But this guy is excellent as a four-legged creature. And so I urge your audiences to look at that and watch for anything on four legs. That is Frank Woodward, and he's doing it as well as a two-legged humanoid can do. And the other performance to watch is not the performance, it's the person in a character named Bright Button. She comes up third to half into the movie, and then you see quite a bit of her. Is Mildred Harris, who did not have a distinguished career as an actress, but she was age 13 when she made this movie. 4 years later, she becomes the first Mrs. Charlie Chaplin. No. And a couple of years after that, she becomes the first ex-Mrs. Charlie Chaplin. Chaplin liked them young. He was 29 when they got married. She was 17. And she divorced him, took him to the cleaners, got $100,000 as a divorce settlement, which in 1920 was a mammoth sum. And she steps right into an affair with Prince Edward, Prince of Wales. And after that affair breaks up, she introduces Edward and Wallace Simpson together.
Wow.
And so here she is playing this angelic character in in the Wizard of Oz movie, and soon she'll be making tabloid headlines.
And next week, we're going to talk a lot more about Oz. I have to cut you short tonight. Thanks so much, Frank.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Great guy. We're going to
Wow.
talk more Oz next week.
Beautiful.
Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thanks, WingCam.